You're speaking to someone right now, and they're not trying to win the argument. They're trying to make you doubt your own mind. Welcome to DarkMind Academy. Most manipulation doesn't begin with violence, threats, or screaming. It begins with a sentence so small, you barely notice the damage until your confidence is already gone. Gaslighting is psychological warfare disguised as conversation. And the most dangerous part, the phrases sound normal. By the end of this video, you'll start hearing manipulation hidden inside everyday language. And once you notice it, you can never unhear it again. The first phrase manipulators love to use is, "You're overreacting." Simple sentence, but psychologically, it's an attack on emotional legitimacy. The manipulator is not addressing what they did. They're reframing your reaction as the real problem. Notice the trick. The focus shifts away from their behavior and onto your emotions. You confront disrespect. They call you dramatic. You express pain. They call you sensitive. You question inconsistency. They call you paranoid. Over time, this conditions you to distrust your own emotional responses. You start filtering your feelings before expressing them. You become easier to control because now, you police yourself for them. And that's the real goal of gaslighting, not controlling your actions directly, controlling your interpretation of reality. The second phrase, "That never happened." This one is dangerous because repetition breaks certainty. Human memory is strong, but confidence in memory is fragile. If someone repeatedly denies events with enough confidence, your brain begins experiencing cognitive dissonance. Part of you remembers the event clearly, but another part starts wondering, what if I misunderstood? Manipulators exploit this mental conflict constantly. They know certainty requires stability, so they create instability. They rewrite conversations, deny promises, contradict previous statements, and act confused when you remember accurately. Eventually, the victim starts relying on the manipulator's version of events more than their own memory. That's psychological dependence. And once someone controls your perception of the past, they can influence your future decisions too. The third phrase, "You're crazy." Cold, simple, effective, because labels are powerful psychological weapons. Once someone labels your perception as irrational, everything you say afterward becomes easier to dismiss. Your concerns become episodes, your intuition becomes insecurity, your evidence becomes obsession. The manipulator doesn't need to disprove your argument anymore. They only need to damage your credibility. And this works especially well in toxic relationships because emotional attachment weakens defensive thinking. When emotions are involved, people don't just fear being wrong. They fear abandonment. So many victims begin silencing themselves just to avoid appearing unstable. That silence becomes the manipulator's protection. The fourth phrase, "I was just joking." One of the oldest manipulation tactics in existence. Insult, disrespect, humiliation, then retreat behind humor. This creates what psychologists call plausible deniability. If you react strongly, they accuse you of lacking humor. If you stay silent, they continue escalating. Either way, they win. This tactic is designed to test boundaries safely. Manipulators rarely begin with obvious cruelty. They begin with disguised disrespect, small comments, passive insults, mockery hidden behind laughter. Because every tolerated disrespect teaches them how far they can go next time. Healthy people apologize when they hurt you unintentionally. Manipulators study your tolerance level instead. The fifth phrase, "You're imagining things." This attacks perception directly, not memory, not emotions, perception itself. And perception is foundational to human confidence. The moment you begin doubting what you saw, heard, or noticed, your ability to trust yourself weakens dramatically. That's why manipulators hate observant people. Observant people notice contradictions, patterns, behavior changes, micro-expressions, inconsistencies. So manipulators try to convince those people that awareness itself is paranoia. The victim slowly learns a terrifying habit, ignoring their own intuition. And intuition is often the first defense mechanism against manipulation. The sixth phrase, "Everyone agrees with me." This is social pressure manipulation. Humans naturally fear isolation. So when manipulators imply that everyone sees you as wrong, irrational, or difficult, your brain feels pressure to conform. Even if the statement is false, most victims never verify whether everyone was even consulted, because the sentence itself triggers insecurity immediately. This tactic weaponizes the fear of rejection. And psychologically, social rejection activates pain centers in the brain similar to physical pain. Manipulators know this instinctively. That's why they create imaginary alliances. Even your friends think you're difficult. My family warned me about you. Everybody notices your behavior. The goal is simple. Make you feel outnumbered. People become easier to control when they feel alone. The seventh phrase, You always do this. Absolute language is manipulation gold. Always, never, every time. These words exaggerate patterns to create guilt. One mistake suddenly becomes your entire personality. One emotional reaction becomes proof of permanent instability. Manipulators use absolutes because absolutes destroy nuance, and nuance protects fairness. Once nuance disappears, defending yourself becomes exhausting, because now you're not discussing one situation anymore. You're defending your entire character. That emotional exhaustion is intentional. A tired mind is easier to influence. The 8th phrase, if you really love me. Emotional blackmail. One of the darkest forms of manipulation because it weaponizes affection itself. Love becomes transactional. Loyalty becomes obedience. And boundaries become proof you don't care enough. This creates a toxic psychological loop, where the victim feels guilty for having limits. The manipulator slowly trains them to associate self-respect with selfishness. That's why many victims stay in toxic relationships far longer than outsiders expect, because manipulation rewires emotional associations. Pain becomes connected to loyalty, submission becomes connected to love, sacrifice becomes connected to worthiness, and once that conditioning is deep enough, people begin abandoning themselves voluntarily. The 9th phrase, you're too sensitive. This phrase exists to invalidate emotional standards. Notice something important. Healthy people adjust when they hurt someone unintentionally. Manipulators adjust your standards instead. That difference matters. Gaslighters don't want accountability. They want emotional immunity. So they train you to feel embarrassed whenever you react to disrespect. Eventually, you stop confronting harmful behavior entirely, not because it stopped hurting, but because you fear being seen as weak. That's the psychological prison. The victim starts participating in their own silencing. The 10th phrase, you made me do it. This is responsibility transfer, and manipulators are masters of it. They turn consequences into your fault. Their anger becomes your fault. Their cheating becomes your fault. Their lies become your fault. Their cruelty becomes your fault. This tactic is devastating because humans naturally search for causality. When something painful happens, the brain wants explanations. Manipulators exploit that instinct by feeding victims distorted responsibility. And over time, victims begin carrying guilt that never belonged to them. That guilt weakens resistance, because guilty people are easier to control than confident people. Now here's the terrifying truth most people never realize. Gaslighting is rarely about winning arguments. It's about weakening certainty. A confident mind is difficult to manipulate. A confused mind is vulnerable. That's why manipulators attack clarity first. Not through force, through repetition. Tiny phrases, repeated constantly, until your inner voice becomes quieter than theirs. And once someone overrides your internal judgment, control becomes easy. This is why victims often struggle to explain manipulation to outsiders. Because the damage wasn't physical. It was cognitive erosion, slow destruction of trust in oneself, one sentence at a time. But here's the important part. Awareness changes everything. Manipulation thrives in unconsciousness. The moment you recognize these phrases for what they are, they lose part of their power. Because now you stop interpreting them emotionally. You start analyzing them strategically. Instead of asking, am I overreacting? You begin asking, why are they trying to make me question myself instead of addressing the issue directly? That shift is powerful because manipulation collapses when awareness enters the room. And the most dangerous people hate one thing above all else. A person who can see through them calmly, not emotionally, not loudly, calmly. Because calm awareness destroys psychological control. The manipulator expects confusion. They expect emotional reactions. They expect self-doubt. What they fear is recognition. The moment you stop defending your reality to manipulators endlessly, their tactics become weaker. And that's why emotionally detached people are harder to gaslight. Not because they feel nothing, but because they observe before reacting. They prioritize patterns over excuses. Words over time reveal intention. Always. If this video made you recognize behaviors you ignored before, subscribe to DarkMind Academy and comment the most manipulative phrase you've ever heard someone use. Because sometimes the most dangerous manipulation sounds completely normal until you finally understand the psychology behind it.